What up, y'all? It's Nate Almighty, aka the Global Dark Skin Ambassador now. As I walk to the gym to work out, I'm going to take care of this reaction. This paid donation by the brother Shane Freehold, who likes to see me do reactions to kids acting up and wanting to get my opinion on it as a parent. Now, I'm not the best parent in the world, but I do feel like there's ways to discipline children where it's not necessarily abusive and you could get what you want done based off of how I parent my children, who, disclaimer, they don't live with me. My oldest did live with me at a time, but he don't live with me at all. But I have been in situations where I discipline my children. So this is the reaction Shane sent me, and we're going to see what's going on in this right now. So let's get it. Okay, little nigga crying. Oh.
You can pick up that whole thing now.
Oh. Oh, boom. So you see right there, after she said pick it up, and he grabbed it and slammed it again, this is where, as a parent, you're supposed to do more than talk. You're supposed to do more than talk. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to do more than talk. Maybe, you might need to get a little rough with little man. But as I could already tell right here, right? First of all, I want to say, physical discipline on a child should never be the first resort. It should be, if you have to use it, it should be maybe after a warning or two. And it also depends on the severity of the situation. But this child right here, you can already tell, he's used to turning up and getting what he wants. He's been raised to do whatever he wants. Now, I also want to state that I know for a fact there's no father in the picture. He's at least not there. Because that little second slam right there, the father already would have been like, hey, what the fuck are you doing, right? It already would have been a whole different type of energy in the house, but let's keep going.
Josh, all I was asking you to do was pick up those 3 cards.
He's an asshole. Slow kid's an asshole.
All I asked you to do was pick up those 3 cards. And so now you can pick up the whole thing now. You don't get to watch TV.
See this? She just allowing him to just carry on like a little dickhead. This is not teaching your kids proper discipline. People think it's wrong to discipline your kids. They want discipline. Only the people in their lives who really love them will teach them right from wrong and discipline them when they need it. And like I said, there's a difference between discipline and abuse. Abuse is going overboard. Discipline is letting them know, hey, you did this, so as a result, you're going to get slapped in your face. Like, this is the point where mom should have got up, right? Should have got up, and she should have slapped him silly. Period. She should have slapped him silly, but let's keep going. All this over a TV too? Over the idiot box? You gotta understand, man. You have to physically discipline your children when they get this irate. How else are you gonna calm them down? Well, there's another way you could try, but it's new age, and I'll speak on it later.
I didn't tell you to shut up. No, I didn't. I asked you to stop. I never told you to shut up. All I asked you to do was...
Why is she explaining herself? Why is she explaining herself to her child who's yelling at her that I didn't tell you to shut up? You're not talking to your man, your husband, your boyfriend. You're talking to your child. Your child is, I said, shut up. Shut the fuck up, matter of fact. What is this? You gotta be stern with these kids. It's all right. Like, what's up with this pussy parenting? Like, I don't get it, man. He's a boy. Pick up those 3 little pieces. And he's highly emotional.
Yes, you do. No, I don't. It doesn't seem like I do. No, it doesn't.
This ain't even about TV no more at this point, the way he's acting. Like, forget about TV. You should be in your room at this point. You should be in your room crying to yourself, being ignored at this point.
Yeah, and you're not at your dad's house. Yeah.
See, look. She said, you're not at your dad's house. You see? I guarantee you, dad is not going for it. Dad is not going for it. He would have caved this little boy's chest in already. He gets away with that with his mother. Because I speak on it.
Yell at me for telling you to shut up? So you tell me to shut up. I didn't even tell you to shut up and you yelled at me. Yes, you did.
What kind of conversation is that? That's not a conversation to be having with your child. They mad because you told them shut up. When they were acting the way they weren't supposed to be. Come on now. Now, some things about this situation is, clearly the father's not in the house because she said it's not your dad's house. She said this is not your dad's house. Okay, it's not dad's house. That's why you're allowing your son to get through all of this. She's annoying. It's probably why he left. He probably left because she acts like this with the kids and all of that. Like, that's a fact of the situation. And she's just doing it all wrong. You deal with it that way, your kid is going to grow up to be an asshole, a narcissist, and a dickhead. It's that simple. What's up? It's that simple, you know what I mean? Like, she's doing it wrong. But I'm going to go over some questions that the homie wanted me to answer, right? So what's your general reaction to this as a father if this was your son? Trick question. This will never be my kids. Even though my kids don't live with me, I've spent enough time with them. I feel like I've seen them at their worst at this young of an age. At that young of an age. Because, you know, my kids are going to be 11 this year, my boys, right? They've turned up, but they've never turned up this much because I never really allowed it to get this far. I like to figure out ways to deal with situations, you know? And the quickest thing to do is if you doing something you know you ain't supposed to do and you've had 1 or 2 warnings, the next step is this, because he is a little bit too old for a spanking. But he's not old enough to get slapped. Now, mind you, I don't believe slapping your child in the face is abuse. I don't believe it's abuse. I don't. I really don't. But you can overdo it if you're disciplining your children out of anger. It kind of got to be to calm them down. It has to be to calm them down, you feel me? It has to be to calm them down. I know some people, they may feel like, hey man, you slap your kid in the face. That's wrong. That's wrong. Don't do that. Hey man, you got to discipline these kids, man. And I'm not advocating for the belt. I think it could be done without the belt. But, you know, when they're little boys and they reach a certain age, they big enough to get punched in the chest. You know what I mean? But in acting like this, would you definitely give a spanking in the situation? He's a little too big for a spanking. A spanking is not going to be effective. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that I learned was, I seen this video with this guy where from young, he trained this child to meditate and calm their own mind. Now, that's something that moving forward with my kids and myself, because I have an anger issue, that's probably the best. To train your kids from jump, learning how to meditate and calm their own mind when they're getting their feelings. This kid would not be doing that, what he doing in this video, if that's how he was raised, you know what I'm saying? Method of spanking, like I said, there is no spanking. He's too big for that. What if he does this a week later? If he does it a week later, then you got to up the ante a little bit. But a lot of times, you know, these kids are not used to, you don't even got to hit these kids all the time. A lot of times, these kids are not used to just going a week without electronics, man. That'll make them miserable enough. And all you do is, I would suggest you probably keep them occupied, have them learning something. Like, you can't just have them sitting bored, not playing the game all day, because that's when you start raising like these incel kids. You start raising like these incel kids and all of that. You know what I mean? Like, they grow up, they wanna shoot up the school and they wanna make homemade bombs and all of that. You got to have them doing other stuff to take their mind off the electronic stuff that it'll benefit them, but they may not necessarily like it that much in the beginning. Like, okay, you acting up, so how about I make you do these certain type of push-up punishment variations, or we'll get you started in the karate class. You'll be starting this karate class next week. The whole time you won't be playing the game. You won't be doing none of this. It's different things we got to find out. I'm not perfect, but I know that as a father, usually every time I see these videos, there's not a father in the house. That has been the common denominator every time I do one of these reactions. A lot of this stuff would be cured if the women wasn't chasing the father away. And then these kids wouldn't have to these kids won't end up like this, man. Because that's terrible. That's a kid who's gotten what he wanted by acting up. But my answer to all of this is he's a little bit too big for a spanking. So there's other things you got to do. There's other things you got to do. I don't suggest the belt. The belt can get too abusive. I don't suggest that. But caving him in the chest, or, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say nothing else because of YouTube guidelines, but you got to take it old school, man. You got to take it to the 80s and 90s without being abusive, without leaving all these bruises on your kid. You got to figure out a way to discipline your children depending on the variation of the offense. Like, share, comment, subscribe, peace.